Good evening. Just the words I was about to essay forth here into the PM hours. International Master William Paschall. We are live from Budapest, Hungary, and tonight it's viewer tournament night. So we're doing 7+2 rabbit chess with. This involves not harm. This does not involve harm to any animals. It is 7+2 rabid chess, casual arena format. No animals have been harmed in the making of this tournament. It's a bunny bashing fest. 7+2 rapid chess, casual arena. We're gonna get started in like 7 minutes. You only have time for 2. Please, God, don't let it be him. He's swindled me twice now in the last 2 games. You kind of accidentally joined the leaderboard. The leaderboard? What leaderboard? What kind of accidentally joined what leaderboard? I'm a little slow on the uptake here. Acerbate said he joined the leaderboard, but I didn't understand what he meant. Alright, we are going to get underway, guys. Last week we did chess 960, but we're back to normal chess. And I thought it's been a while since we did 7+2. There was like a 5-0 and a couple blitz tournaments. But I thought 7+2. We've got 8 players only so far. Let me throw the link to the tournament out there on the stream. Clash says, I will watch today. I have a massive headache. Uh-oh. Are you legal drinking age, Clash Kid? I've had some good prep. Back up over 2,000 rating now. Up over. I thought that was your first time. So, Arsenal fan, I think I like falsely congratulated you last week. You know, thinking that you had like gone over 2,000 for the first time. Because I hadn't noticed. But then again, the rapid ratings are so new. It's kind of like they haven't been around for very long. So we've only got 8 players thus far. Hopefully, by the end of the tournament, we usually get like 40 or even 50 people jumping in. It's an open tournament. Anyone's welcome to play. I took like a 30-point hit in rapid chess today. There was this guy who was like around 1790 or something, and he played badly but really, really fast against me, and I guess I get used to having the increment, so I played too slow, and when I had a winning position, I was down under a minute, and I just started to jettison everything. I actually lost. So I lost like 30 points to this guy. But he played really well for his rating. Got to be a little more careful. Tushar Kanda says, I'm 2180, which is totally fake. I'm 2050 level. 2180 is fake. Fake news. Soltigo is fake. Arsenal is fake. The other guys I don't know too much. Bokodam, Radu, Timur, Chess Guy, Nikitasha, and Duce. Or Duce. Il Duce. Game I watched you play well. The one with the pawn sacrifice. The one with the pawn sacrifice. This was not that game. This was a game where I sniped the pawn from the guy like right out of the gate, and I was just like up 2 pawns, but he had some compensation. And then my clock got really low and I started freaking out. Lost my extra pawn and even lost in an endgame. The thing that was disheartening was like he was like super fast. He played the whole game in like less than 3 minutes. Despite the fact that he had no bullet games on his account at all. He plays like 10-minute games against like title players using less than 3 minutes for the whole game. You'd think that kind of player would be, you know, competent at bullet. Yet he had no bullet games ever played. You know who is Chess Guy, obviously. I never forget a face. Tushar Candace said, what? If it's FIDE standard, I'm definitely 1700 or level or less. I don't know. I think you're a little stronger than 1700. It's so hard, though, you know. Hard to say. With players I haven't played that much. Guys, we're starting in like 3 minutes. Trying to find streaming. Trying to find streaming? What do you mean, Acerbate? You've got all these like mystery questions. He said another mysterious thing. What was it? No, I forgot. Alright, I have a very bad auditory memory. Never forget a face, though. Window wax. No, it's like Windows ZX. Guys, we're going to get started here momentarily. You can join the tournament and like unjoin at any moment, which I love about the arena tournaments. Definitely the best thing about this format on lichess. Mysterious comments. He said he was on the leaderboard, and then he said something about trying to find streaming. Window Wax is speaking Russian. Говорю по-русски язык. Alright. Tushar Kamde. Am I really shadow banned from lichess chat room? It's possible. If you were bad, anything could happen. They have powers. We are 1-5-3 away from starting. Clash Kid says, I realize playing the new classical games on lichess is hard. What do you mean by the new classical games? Exactly. I mean, now there's two rating systems, rapid and classical. I have like no classical games, so nothing longer than whatever the maximum for rapid is. I like the rapid games best. It's like perfect if you play like 10-0 or something like this. Play a quick game, but it has like quality, you know, much higher quality than the 5-0 or 3+2, like a typical blitz game. Okay, guys, we're gonna get started. No high-rated players, just me. No one here but us. Rapids. Arsenal fan, what? I've been designated a team for lichess 45. Oh, I have another student who is going to play in the lichess 45 league. And I think that's a good idea. If you don't get to play that much tournament chess, I think you should try to play these sort of, you know, 45-minute league here on lichess or anywhere. I mean, in the old days they had those things on ICC and FICS. The 20-minute games, people really take their time. You can't just beat them with a cheapo. I haven't like really played a single one yet, but we will see. I mean, eventually I'll get the classical rating fired up. It just takes a lot of time, and there aren't many. I haven't seen any tournaments in classical. All right, so it's me against Window Wax is like spamming in Russian. Who is Russian? All right, Tushar Kamde against me. It's cool, 7+2. It's just like my normal weekly stream, basically. I got to be careful with the 2-second increment though, because with the 2-second increment, I'm used to 3 and I can kind of flag. And the other thing is that if I do decide to berserk a game, I have to remember that there's no increment. And last time that cost me getting in the prizes. We're going to play the Hyper Accelerated Dragon. GRSA Man says, what? I can't play. I am under 16. What? What do you mean you can't play? Under... What you can't play in? Alright. D5 or Bishop G7 are both kind of different variations here. Still I could play D5. That's kind of weird though. He could take on C5. E5 takes. Even the weird move Knight C3 is possible here, but probably not that good. So it's usually takes or E5. It's totally different type of position. One is like an IQP. I guess theoretically E5 seems stronger. There's no world loser in Aldestone this tournament. My money is on Soltigo for the best on title player. You know, this move is strategically kind of questionable in a way because his pawn center is dark square and he's trading off his bishop on B5. What am I going to do? Take with the knight, maybe. You can take either way. Space is space. Kind of an interesting line. How am I going to develop my other knight? That's the thing that's bugging me here. Like knight h6, h3. I mean, like, I guess the classical is e6. It just creates a lot of dark square weaknesses, but I may not have a choice. I don't think I've ever had to face bishop b5 check from, like, a strong player. But I'm beginning to wonder if it was a mistake by me. I don't know. Positionally, it seems right to trade the bishops, but it's not that simple. You know, I don't have any kind of bishop b4 sort of stuff. Okay, e6 followed by knight e7. I've got to watch out for knight b5 now, but I've got tactics. The tactics here years ago I played in a team tournament with Roman Gingiashvili, and I remember he was board 1 and I was board 2. And he had some game against some guy. It was pretty low rated. Roman had a really hard time beating the guy. It was something like this. Very similar type of position. White like wedged a bishop on g5 and f6 or something. It's about equal, I think, objectively. I don't think he's underrated for 2180 though. I could take with the bishop, but it's very slow development. Wow, this totally missed my radar. Drastically changing the situation. Now I've got to play knight g8, which seems very slow. Fortunately, he doesn't have knight to b5 right away, which would otherwise be like devastating. I mean, strategically, I think White's plan is slightly suspicious, but still, it seems reasonable. He's given me a protected pass pawn on d5, and he changed the pawn structure, so no longer am I backward on the e-file. I think that favors black in general, though he has some sort of tactical tricks with like knight to b5 and stuff. I don't think that's really the main thing here. Very, very much a focus on quick development for Tushar. I mean, you see that coming out the gate with bishop b5 check. He's not really thinking about, you know, which bishops are good, you know, for this pawn structure. He's just thinking straight up, you know, very fast development, which is really the #1 priority, I think, you know, of all the different opening principles. Probably, like, you know, quick development is the single most important concept. So there's some subtleties that maybe, you know, Tushar doesn't really grasp, but his priorities are good. I mean, he's really focusing on development. We got a 7+2 increment. It's tricky to play this time control, you know. Use all your time. You have just a 2-second increment. It's much different, say, if it was like 7+5. I could sit back and use up all my like time base, my base time, much more. So another pawn on the dark squares. It seems kind of suspicious. Feels suspicious, but space is space. Knight f5 can be met by g4. Maybe I ought to just develop But he has this knight b5 thing. Now this is actually kind of scary, you know, especially after rook c8. I'm kind of walking into that. Maybe it's not a big deal. But what's my concrete plan after like knight b5, walking right into that? I'm concerned about knight b5. I think king h1 isn't really necessary, but it's a good general prophylaxis. I mean, the space is kind of unpleasant here for black. White's space advantage. But his situation with the bishop on g5 is pretty awkward, and you know, it's a matter of time till that thing is basically getting trapped. He'll have to rely on like tactics to save it. I could have played knight f5 previously, but it walks into g4, and I didn't see what the plan was after that. Playing this again, said Gladys Troll. This being like 7+2 casual. Now this I've been waiting for. I mean, the rook d1 with tactics based on knight e4 looks very, very logical here. Maybe rook c4 not a good move. Queen c6 I was thinking about. That drops a piece. Okay, we've got to be very, very careful. Queen e8 is passive, but stops the threat. I just can't let him play knight e4. That's devastating. The only threat he really has here momentarily. I see some promise for white, but I guess if I had to pick a side, I'd still rather be black, even though he has some space advantage on the king side. We have our own assets, this rook. All of our pieces are active. Rook c4 is another idea behind queen e8. Maybe he won't see that he can't play knight a4 because I can take it. I like the queen in e8, like a lot of times, like people kind of forget it's there. These far away pieces. Seriously. Frustrating him with like defense here. There's g4. It's a kind of risky move. Queen c6 at any moment could be an idea, but okay. I think he has big plans for me here. Tactics based on like an f5, an f5 push, queen e3. He's almost walking directly into forks and stuff. That seems dangerous. But again, he's got knight a4, then really. Rook c4. Okay, I don't know what to do. It's kind of tricky. He's got the space advantage. But I disagree. You know, he's saying before the tournament he's not 1700 FIDE, but I disagree. Wow. I disagree. Wow. Okay, this looks like a kind of optimistic sacrifice. Nevertheless, very dangerous. Totally unclear what's going on here. Probably rook f8, f5. I was afraid, you know, his pawns will just get out of control. White may be better here. I just really have no idea. I'm just losing, I think. The rook d7 looked very, very strong. Probably I'm just losing this position. I mean, on paper I have enough material, but it's those pawns are so strong. I have no idea what to do. Just tonally starting to panic. White's clearly better. He says he's 1700 FIDE, but I disagree. Very fast, very straightforward planning. Alright. That loses a queen. I'll be lucky to get like a perpetual check out of this. I think white is clearly better. Very consistent play with a space advantage. He's showing good understanding of the value of the rook and the two pawns there. White's clearly better, if not winning ultimately, I think. But his king is open, so he's going to have to be careful of perpetual checks and things of that type. Like immediately makes his prophylactic move now. I'm just like paralyzed. Actually, he had me beat in another game, so this will be the second game where I had a lost position against him. I don't think that, you know, most 1700s could do that. Last time I managed to draw that one of these games, I was just totally lost in an ending. This one, same thing as this game. He had so much space advantage on the king side. Pawns up on like f5, e6. His pieces are perfectly centralized. And the endgame is lost if I trade queens. I feel like an obligation to play for a win, but I mean, I would really be satisfied with a draw here. I guess there's just no way, if he doesn't try to do anything, there's no way for me to like make progress. I mean, check this out. White's just on the verge of winning, you know. He says he's 1700. I don't think so. This is too strong. This whole game is played in some Austrian. That's for you, Clash Kid. Austrian Championship, 1991. The same exact game. Čonkić Tunda against Janos Sabulci. This is an amazing move. I did not expect 95. That's actually Stockfish, since that's the best move. It just changes the whole structure, but it's best play, I guess. Wow. This was a pretty good game, and then the piece sacrifice came out of nowhere. I was like expecting knight a4 or something, and he plays knight takes d5, e takes d5, e6. If I play rook f8, then f5. I don't know, man. I mean, that's a really good game. Baumgartner. It's an old guy, isn't it? I think I saw him. It's not like a really old guy. He's like 80 years old or something. Yeah, because he came to some tournaments in Koseg, which I played in 97, 98 on the Austrian border. I think I know the guy. All right. I might have even played him. He might have even played in the IM tournament that I played in 1997, come to think of it. All right. Carpista di Mare. Carpista di Mare. So it's like catfish of the sea. We're going to play G3. Baumgartner. I think it's an old guy. I think I played him in an IM tournament. He was old even then, though, if it's the guy who I'm thinking of. He was old 20 years ago. He must be like 80 now, at least. If it's this same dude. Anyway, really good game by my opponent there. Last game, I thought. John Smith. Very classic name. Wasn't he one of like the Puritans or something? John Smith Troll. Bishop e7. Grunfeld reversed. I don't know, Anand prefers bishop e6 to bishop e7 for some reason. It looks like modern exchange Grunfeld. You could sack a pawn there, I think, with d4, bishop takes, check, bishop d7. Sack an exchange, actually, for that matter. But now we have to do something dramatic. Bishop g5 is a plan. Well, I don't know how strong this guy is. He's 1935. Got a lot of games, so it's legitimate. e4. And then I was thinking to go back to e3. As strange as it seems, going back. Yeah, he's very old. You joke about him. Yeah, so he played in the IM tournament I played in 20 years ago. But he was more there just to hang out and have fun and eat food and drink, I think, than he was to play chess. That was the feeling that I had. Okay, we are going to develop the rest of our pieces, put pressure on black's center. It's kind of weird to play bishop g5 and then go back to e3, but I have forced a structural kind of concession from black in the fact that he's had to play e4, so now we adapt. I'm not sure queen d2 is the best. I wasn't sure where to put my queen. So it's the same guy, okay. Yeah, so, and the other guy, Casagrande, he was a Austrian IM, right? I never met that guy. I always thought it was funny because it sounds like, I guess he's probably, Casagrande, I mean, that sounds like Italian or Spanish or something. I always thought it was a weird name. Walter Whitman. Another Austrian IM who I played a lot. That's the oddest Austrian chess player name of all, in a way, being a famous historical American author and chess player. Now we have some threats going on. But ultimately, I guess the plan is to play f3. f3. Can he do d4 or something crazy like that? I'm having like nightmare. Seeing nightmare variations. No, I can play f3, I think. This guy seems pretty strong. He's extremely fast, and he's not hanging anything, which is bad. That's usually bad when they don't hang anything. But I think finally, like, this is a small concession. Small concession by black. I could have played a3, but I didn't think it was very constructive. We hope black doesn't have any tricks with d4. But I think that trading off his dark square bishop is not necessary. Maybe bishop c3, d4 is not a great move. Maybe I should be more creative here. Maybe like queen d4. Creative and aggressive in a way. Queen d4, bishop d4 is kind of passive and defensive almost. I mean, it's strategically good. It's also tying him down to a7 maybe. What about e3? Is that going to be a problem? Well, I guess we're going to find out. I mean, e3 looks like these pawns are... They're longing for another world. Blockade. Textbook kind of blockade. I mean, I guess queen d3 looks better, but then I wasn't sure I liked it because he can play stuff like a5, bishop a6. It's good to have you here, Clash Kid, not playing, someone who's actually watching the game that I'm talking about. Most of the other players are actually playing their games. Now I think that finally black has concrete problems with the e3 pawn. Well, black started out well. He made some... Or he's run into some classic problems. The blockade, the bad bishop on b7. We're also blockading the a6 pawn. Last game I was lucky not to lose. I mean, I thought I was pretty much like clearly worse. This will lose the block. I'm going to lose the blockade. Here it's kind of like, well, maybe I ought to think about rook c1. But that gives him time to oppose the c file. Bishop h3, another good move. Then bishop c8, and he trades off his bad bishop. Bishop h3, bishop c8, king g2, take, rook c8. Rook c1. Maybe we don't even want to win the pawn right away. We just play like rook c1, rook c8, rook c3. I mean, it's hard to refuse this pawn, though. Now d4, bishop d2, and I can oppose the c file with bishop c1. I don't think rook e8 is a good move. The c file is where it's at. Okay, now maybe overprotection. Ultra subtle bishop f1. Maybe I'm being too fancy. But now we're just totally winning. b3, a4, queenside majority, blockade, better king. There's no way black can hold this. I mean, there's a way. I've definitely messed up even better positions, but now I'm threatening to win a piece. Well, he found a way to get a little bit of counterplay. 96. That's a nice little trick. Takes, takes, takes. I'm just judging that that pawn is very strong on a6. I hope that I'm right. Hope that I'm right. Rook b1. Carpisce ad mare. I missed all kinds of good moves. No, rook d3, knight c5. I mean, I go into it. I don't want that to happen. Not rook d3 there. Now I'm winning. I think this is clearly winning. I can keep both pawns. But rook d3, there was a problem with that. My games take too long, you know? I mean, this kind of game, it's a nightmare in an arena tournament to play like me. It's really not optimal. This grinding people down in 60 move endings is not a good style to have for this time format. He's hanging in there. Well, the important thing is that I'm up 2 pawns in a minor piece ending, which is almost always winning. Minor pieces and rooks. Yeah, the outside pawn is bad for the knight. Alright. Sort of torturing me. Looks like my last move was a mistake. I have to repeat position for one move. And I have rook c7 here, which I missed last move. I'm never going to finish in the top 4 playing games like this. a7. You know, fortunately he didn't have knight c6 because of rook takes f7. Otherwise it might not be a win for me. This contains a rather strange possibility. Knight d3 takes, and then I have to win the king and pawn game with like 4 against 3 on the other side. KG defense, you know, most people would have kind of given up hope being down, you know, so much in a simple position, but Black wanted to fight it out all the way. Fischer endgame, 2 pawns up. Fischer loved his bishops in the endgames. Like, I think maybe the best player ever with bishops. This is just a hallucinatio. Too many pieces now. This is ugly. He had that funny variation, the knight c5, or knight d3 check, bishop takes d3, king takes b7. And bishop e4 check, bishop takes a8, king takes a8. Here it's over. Alright, arena tournament. We should resign, move on to the next game. He's getting his money's worth. Alright, back to tournament. Well, we got a swindle draw in a worse position in game 1 and a win in game 2. There's a strong player here, 2200. I'm playing HGGGG. Alright, he's a fellow Hungarian. I mean, I'm not a real Hungarian, I'm just an imposter, but I'm an adopted resident. Knight f3, d5. Another King's Indian attack. I like to play this opening because it's like easy to play. I don't have to think about the theory too much in a fast time control. Actually, one of my students today wanted me to teach him how to play the King's Indian. And of course, playing the King's Indian actually, you know, can be interpreted as playing the King's Indian attack or playing the King's Indian defense. It's basically the same thing. King's Indian is really like a strategic opening. I mean, it's not like that tactical, actually. Now here, I have knight e5, and one would think... I just looked at this, or something similar, but not quite the same. I looked at something where Black had played c6 recently, but here he hasn't done that yet. I guess I looked at this position with c6 castles already played. It's very slightly different. The fact that Black hasn't played c6 may give him more options. But it also might strengthen my threats about like queen b3 or something. Top 10 situation was called by Troll. I'm not in the top 10. JWD entered the tournament and started mowing people down. The guy that's supposed to be from Greenland. Somehow I doubt he's really from Greenland. I'm not saying it's not possible, but you know, used to run into poker players from Greenland occasionally. Is that possible? I guess. But a lot of people like just to mess around with their, you know, they like to just mess around with their country here on lichess. E4 is possible, but I don't like knight e5 a whole lot. So I think we'll pass on e4 right away and just castle. He's put his knight on c6, which is interesting. It gives the game kind of a different character than the usual structures with like c6. But I'm like way out of contention. My games were long and I didn't win the first one. So we have a problem getting started here. Okay, bishop c5 looks like it's a trap he's trapping himself, kind of. I can play d4. Like d4, knight takes d4, e3, or d4, bishop takes d4, e3. Self-trap. Hey, it's not the end of the world, but he has to waste time giving me a relatively constructive move there. John Nunn, the famous English grandmaster and author, has the classic LPDO. Loose pieces drop off. Why are people resigning in equal position? I don't know, but I've resigned, not in tournament games, but online, like tons of times when I was like winning or drawing. It's very slow for these tournaments. Yeah, I guess you have to berserk in the 7+2 to get on the leaderboard. Now we have a really good game. CD, ED, E4 is interesting and quite dynamic for white. Or E4 right away. Well, I mean, I might as well just play E4 right away, I guess. That gives me more options. It would be unwise for black to play H5 here, I think. He must play knight F6 now. And white is clearly better. I kind of like the straightforward approach of opening up the position on the white squares because I have this like jolly joker bishop. But that's really kind of substandard for my pawn structure. Taking twice on d5 is not optimal for my pawn structure. It might be better for me to play something like knight f6, e5, knight e4, knight c3, along those lines, just kind of building up a stronger center. Probably like knight f6, e5, knight e4, c takes d, e takes d, knight c3, knight takes c3, b takes c3 with a massive phalanx of pawns for white. Santa resigned. He's already here. He said he was going to be late. That's not late. 20 players so far. Or it just shows 20. Well, I guess I should play e5. That gives me the most flexibility. Although opening the position, as I said, might have been good. I prefer just taking the space. We should have very strong attacking chances on the king side. Knight g8 looks like really bad. I mean, okay, knight d7 like loses a pawn, I guess. But knight e4, okay, he's probably right. I didn't even think about it. He's losing a piece on knight e4 to f3. So he's really screwed here. He had to play knight g8. This is obviously an undesirable situation for black. He's lost. Like minimum, just pick off the pawn on d5. I guess maybe knight c6 at the end of the day and knight g4 were both kind of risky moves that he couldn't afford to do both. Like he can mess around with one or the other. I'm surprised he's just busted, but there doesn't seem to be any defense. I didn't even see f3 after knight e4. I mean, actually he's not losing a piece. Wait. Yeah, he is. It was important for me to not play c takes d, because in the knight e4 f3 variation, you know, if I had exchanged pawns on d5 already, he would have like f3, knight g5, knight e6, not losing a piece. So, you know, this way he's just losing a pawn. I mean, I try not to be overly materialistic. But the pawn's not going anywhere. Maybe we can just kind of lock it down and take it next move. The more I play chess, like, the less materialistic I've become, I think. F6, F4. I feel like I'm giving him a little bit of counterplay with F4. Although objectively, I could just take back with the F pawn and use the F file for my own play. Yeah, knight h6 actually was a good idea. I was thinking he would play knight h6 right away, but first he forced me, or encouraged me to play f4, and now he can do knight h6. That was smart. He actually has knight to g4, but it may not work because of tactics. Basically, I have knight takes c7 check. This move doesn't really change too much. I just go here. Now, you could take twice on d4 and try to play c6, but I have intermezzos, so it looks like black has just lost. We have a massive position, like rook c1, and all the pieces are coming in. This is probably next. Queen a4. His counterplay is just too slow. Strong threats of rook takes c6. And he can't move the knight because of the c7 pawn. King b8. Yeah, that's what I thought. Fortunately, rook takes c6 now is still strong. This should still be strong. It was a terrible blunder by me. You can take with the queen. I mean, after queen takes, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I just screwed it up. But this has to be really strong. Even here, it took me forever to win. Is it possible for you to challenge me? This is a tournament. You can join the tournament. The link is in the stream screen at the bottom. Yeah, thanks for sending in the link, Soltigo. But I just played recklessly last move, and rook takes c6 was sort of fancy. I'm just lazy to find the right move. I was a little too lazy to find the right move now. Well, I think I can play bishop takes and move my king and probably be winning. Well, there's also just knight takes. But he was in bad shape after the opening. I mean, once he had to play knight g8, his position was busted. Safer to play c6 instead of knight c6. Safer not to like let me take your bishop on g4 also, but okay, there's tricks either way. I have tricks there. If you play bishop f5 or bishop h5 or whatnot, it's usually some g4 type of tricks for white. JWD just racking up the points there from Greenland. Blue Crow, what? Smoke break, okay. And then another guy, 2062, racking up points. I'm playing a new player. Wow, he's like really new. Alright, let's see. I better move. Can I see what games he's played? I can't see his record in the tournament. Wait. If I scroll down. There he is. Alright, doesn't matter anyway. Alright, I played, let's play something different. Played this earlier today. Welcome everyone. Tomorrow is Weird Wednesday, unusual opening stream in the morning. If you guys want to hang out with me at 10 a.m. in the morning, European time. So our new player with 1800 immediately comes up the right move. One of the right moves against Queen c7. And now, I haven't faced this in a while. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to play knight f6. It's a weird c3 Sicilian. But Queen c7 isn't too bad here. Unclear how strong this player could be like a grandmaster. Although I don't know how he would be 1830 after 5 games. You know, if he's 1830 after 5 games, he probably shouldn't play like a master against me. But we'll see. Let's see, d4. Now I think I have to take. And I've definitely played this position before. Not recently, and never in a tournament game. I've only risked Queen c7 a couple of times. Okay, this is sort of suspicious. He's like sacking a pawn here. Instantly. That looks like a computer type of move. I could get trolled, but I'm not going to cry about it if I do. And that looks like a really strong move for white. Sacking a pawn here. Maybe I shouldn't even take it. It's pretty dangerous to take. I think I'd be safer off not taking the pawn. Safer off. Can I say that? So we're not going to take the pawn against what could be master strength 1800 with 5 games. I never play people who have less than 100 games normally, but I can't set that parameter for the tournament. Everyone's open to play. It's just too complicated to make like a password tournament. People wouldn't know how to get in the tournament. I tried that once in the beginning. But knight c3 is a really strong move to just throw out there, you know. Most people are materialistic, especially lower rated players. Queen c2 defending the pawn. It looks kind of awkward, but he does have play on this diagonal. So I don't know. It's hard to say if Queen c2 is a good move or not. Maybe he's a weak player and he just didn't even like think about the fact that he was sacking a pawn on c3. It's so hard to tell, you know. This is a logical move, but he doesn't have the play on this diagonal with the bishop on b5. It's developing very quickly. But at this point I think I can win a pawn. I'm just very paranoid playing new accounts. Whenever I play someone who is less than like 20 games, I assume they're trolling me with an engine or something. But here he dropped a piece, so he's definitely not a He's not an engine. So he stumbled on the right move in the opening, just intuitively, like knight c3. That's the move I don't really want to face. If I take the pawn, I'm losing the initiative. White has a very strong attack. Let's see for a second. This is a position that's not very common. Quinteros played it. It looks like Chom has a game. Chom also played like 2b6 in the Sicilian sometimes. There's only a few games here. Yeah, nobody's actually played this in the lichess opening database, but if you look at Stockfish, it's liking this pawn sacrifice, like white's better by 0.2 after knight to c3. I mean, I remember definitely like fearing it when I analyzed this line. All right, I will wait till I get enough games in. You lost to a master equal material. I'm somehow in third place, but not for long. Arsenal fan will come along and swindle me. But we don't have a lot of high-rated players. Tushar Kemda lost one. To CDW. No, he lost to Fight Master. Oh, he lost to a 1500. Ouch. Fight Master. Fight Master only had one inaccuracy, and it's a brand new account. But that doesn't mean anything. Hard to really... But why is his rating 1500? He just doesn't have any rapid games, that's why. Okay. So he's not really a 1500. He just doesn't have any rapid games. Yeah, so he's a master. Okay. Yeah, he's not... Right. FIDE 1600 from Armenia. Well, I mean, his other ratings were master strength. So he doesn't seem like he's 1600. You're 1700. No, you don't have any tournament rating, right? Tushar? Okay, I'm supposed to play d4 here, according to my preparations, but sometimes I get distracted and I'll castle. If black wants to, they can play the King's Indian by not exchanging on d4. I kind of feel like that's actually a tougher defense for black. Not that there's anything wrong with this main line, but somehow the variations where black doesn't exchange on d4 are more uncompromising and therefore more difficult to play because we have no simplification at all. Albert said, give me rating. My opponent is using a lot of time here. Okay, there's a 3-0 Shield tournament going on, so I think maybe some of the players that would normally play in this are playing in the Shield tournament. I would probably play in something that was like 5-0, but I would need a lot of practice playing 3-0 again. It's been a while. I used to play 3-0 some years ago, but if you don't do that on a regular basis, you lose on time all your games, and I would need to get faster to get back to playing 3-0. What happened on queen takes c3? Just nothing. I lose the initiative. I win a pawn in exchange for losing the initiative. I put myself in a precarious position. You can take the pawn, but I try to be like not materialistic. This is the Alejandro Rios variation, where I played a perfect game for like 40 moves and then blundered and lost. Back in 1991 or 1992. A game that always will pain me for the rest of my life. I had a really good tournament, and then it was like 3 really good results, and then I lost to this guy where I was just better the whole game, and then like in the 5th hour of the game I blundered and lost. He was never even equal. He was just like hanging on by his fingernails. Queen c7, bishop f4. That's a problem. Or is it? Yes, that's a problem. So I have to go here first. I think against Rios, I actually played knight a4. And maybe I'm the only player to ever do that. Maybe this exact position is right. But it seems kind of weird to let him exchange. I don't know. Did I really do that? This seems like the correct move. I know that I played knight a4 against the guy, and I was the only one to do that. And it was a good move, but it was kind of precarious. It's funny how like a6 seems like a completely normal move, you know, for black, but it's just like really bad. Like black is clearly worse after a6. It's not like you're just a little bit worse. Like white is nearly winning after this weakening move a6. Yeah. Indolent lad. I had two not that interesting games against Feingold where both were draws. One was a rather boring game in the US Championship once, and once was a game where I was up a pawn. I was actually much better, but a friend of mine came to visit me at the tournament and arrived like during the game with Feingold, and I was up a pawn, but he had a little bit of compensation, and I really thought like it's going to be like a really long struggle if I have to try to beat him, so I just offered a draw, and he took it because he was clearly worse. So we had two draws, though I was, to be fair, I was white in both games. I never played Feingold with black. Govan Kurt says, hey, what's up? Another Hungarian Budapest resident. You're streaming as well live? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. I mean, black just has this clearly messed up structure here with zero counterplay. This is a very, very bad situation for black. I wasn't sure if last move I should have played maybe bishop g5. But now there is the kind of obvious concept of bishop takes knight on b3. Like if I go queen d2, he does bishop takes b3, trading a set of pieces. Trading a set of pieces sort of takes some of the life out of the game. I was thinking bishop g5. I actually had the funny move knight c5 here, but I'm not sure it actually does anything other than put my knight on a kind of precarious position. I would be happier playing something more constructive. I mean, even knight d4 is not bad. I kind of like knight d4 actually. I mean, this keeps it simple, and my knight was a little bit misplaced there. Still, I was concerned about what a different move there. Pretty fast player. Played the opening badly, but he seems to be happy to simplify the situation here. You can definitely take with the queen, but I didn't think this damages my position that badly, while strengthening a little bit to control the center. But I guess in a vacuum, his idea of grabbing my dark square bishop was best, and now black has some compensation. So this knight h5 resource ends up being a big mistake by me, giving him significant counterplay. So queen d2 was a bad move. Actually, knight d4 was a bad move. I guess I could have played bishop g5, but I didn't think, it does a whole lot after rook e8. I'm still not sure what the best move is there for me. We're just a tiny itty bit better here, but his bishops kind of compensate for the weak pawn on the d file, so I think that I'm really only infinitesimally better. Black should probably hold this against an equal player. I guess I can do like b3, knight d5. Maybe I can beat him in some kind of opposite colored bishop ending where I'm a tiny bit better. It was debatable whether to take with the queen or the pawn on f4. Once I lost to Danny Wrench, I was like on tilt or something. I played like an absolute maniac against the guy. I don't know why. I don't remember what was up with me like at that particular time, but I looked at the game later and I was kind of like, man, I really played like an absolute maniac, It was just like the mood I was in that day or something. I was the clear favorite, and I played the... Actually, I think I played the white side of a dragon, and I went berserk against him. Black is holding here. It was just it was a game I would never play today. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago, like 15 years ago. I wanted to beat the guy really bad. I didn't know who he is. He was just like a 2300. But I just played like an absolute maniac. I almost came up with something, but it was too unsound, I think, ultimately. Yeah, that's all the iconic young American players I've played. You just won a game I'd like me to analyze on Thursday, guys. I have my subscriber stream, and we do that on Thursday night. I'd like to invite the people who subscribe on Twitch to like submit games to analyze together here on the stream. I was talking about opposite color bishop. This is what I was talking about. Maybe there's some hope of winning this kind of position. But h6 is an interesting move. It's like he's trying to play g5 or something. I just had this like sudden fear of like, what happens if g5? Okay, it's probably not a big deal, but if he gains a tempo, he could get like a double attack on b2 and d5. Okay, this move now allows me to play b4, which should be okay. Well, I was going to play that anyway last move. So he's been a little passive over the last couple of moves. But still, it's this is just like infinitesimally better for me. I really don't know if Wade has realistic winning chances here. How strong is this player? Not really high rated, but position is kind of problematic. I don't think that rook c8 really did anything. Maybe if I can play f5. Yeah, I don't want to... Didn't really want this to happen, to be honest, but I don't think it would be avoidable. I mean, he is tied down to these pawns, sort of. But it's probably a draw objectively. Man. B7 is hanging. And D6 is hanging. Let's keep it that way and hope something good happens. You need like Aronian like technique to win this drawn position. But there are plenty of ways for both sides to go wrong. Fortunately, he can't play like Queen B5 trading queens. B5. Okay, so D6 is hanging. And that's a good move because I'm still on... You know, I'm still on G6 with it. At least I hope it's a good move. Instantly found a pretty strong response. Oh, that scared the living hell out of me. I guess it's a draw, but I just wanted to play a few more moves. Played a strong player for 2,000. Very good technique too. Seems like a very strong player. I mean, besides playing one bad move in the opening, played... He's even following the exact game in the book here. The exact play was played in the exact... This game, some random 2017 game. Holy crap. And knight h5, the whole thing can be found in the opening book. Wow. That's ridiculous. But I created a new move, g takes f4, which Stockfish thinks is equally good. So we took him out of book with g takes f4. Black have any cent upon loss here in this game? Basically played, except for like that inaccuracy in the opening. Played perfectly. One cent upon loss, 10 cent upon loss, one inaccuracy. I had 3 inaccuracies. Interesting. All right, back to the tournament. He did lose to somebody. He lost against Vodka Drunk 1300. Uh-oh. What's that about? 1300? Vodka Drunk? That's kind of disturbing. What a game. This guy's had a lot of cent upon loss here. I don't know. All right. Back to tournament. M. Singer. That was you? Diva Kara. I'm playing this guy again. Not another. No, I'm not going to play the same variation again. That would be boring. You're Hidoi. We're playing again. I played a different opening this time, but you played an interesting move with the this knight c3 last time. I thought you were Illuminati or something. It's a very rare variation that I play like just for fun once in a while. Most people don't play interesting pawn sacrifices. Alright, now I'm supposed to play bishop g4 here. Okay, this is a very standard line. Anatoly Karpov played this variation for white. Yeah, he knew about knight c3. I guess Karpov wouldn't do like pawn takes pawn, but pawn takes pawn is very common. Once I saw Berkes Ferenc lose to, I think it was like Korchnoi in a tournament in Kecskemét, no, in Paks, Hungary, in this line. Berkes sometimes plays the Alekhine's defense. There's a couple Hungarian players who play it. My teammate Zoltán Varga. But maybe like c takes is more aggressive. You know, this is like the classical way to recapture. But there's a variation that I've had some trouble with. This is much safer for black, playing it like it's a kind of king pawn, you know, like double king pawn Petrov defense, let's say. This is a very strange move. Reminiscent of a mouse slip. I mean, wow, that was interesting move. But it has some kind of strange power to it. It's making me think a lot. That is definitely weird. I don't know. I almost played d5, but then my knights get kind of bottled up after c5. So I'm trying to do something with that rook. I was thinking about this, you know, trying to exploit Wonder if he can make the top 10. I wonder if I can stay in the top 10 after the last player. What happened to him? Divakaran. JWD has 41 points. Who is JWD? It's totally mysterious. I just assume because it says he's from Greenland that he must be from, like, Canada. But I think that's a strange assumption to make, you know, because they're geographically close. It's sort of dumb to assume that someone who puts down Greenland is... He could be from anywhere. JWD. I mean, there's almost certainly have to be his initials. Very, very deep conclusion, I know. My best friend who taught me to be a chess player, his initials are JLD. But JWD... What's going on here? I'm frozen. My time is running. What? I didn't make a move? Do you guys understand what just happened? I just sat there for like 3 minutes after I played bishop f6, and I thought the move went through, but apparently it didn't go through. Like, I thought I saw his time going. What happened? Like, was that like a momentary like time hole or something that I fell in? What happened to the last like 3 minutes of my life? Was that a void, like a time warp or something? I just realized, oh my god, like nobody's clock is running except for mine. You know? Like, what? Am I still streaming? Okay, this is a little too weird. Double threat. Haidoy has some creative ideas in the opening. I feel like I'm falling into another one of his sneaky traps. Like, it's all just a ploy to get me to give up my whole position. Where did my time go? But what happened to my time? Seriously. Like, I'm not kidding. I made the move and it like unmade itself, and here I am. So for the second game in a row, he's come up with this like really strange and abstract but interesting sort of pawn sacrifice. Like, in order to win a pawn, I have to lose my coordination here. But what happened there? I don't understand. Now he instantly sees this. He resigned after like 10 moves last game. He lost a piece after playing an interesting pawn sack in the opening. Now again, it's like really strange position where it seems like white has compensation. This is just a counter knight d5. What are my knights doing? I could use back that 3 minutes I just sacrificed. Bishop h6. Well, that wasn't really what I had in mind. This could actually be kind of dangerous for black. If worse comes to worse, I'll have to like sacrifice a pawn back, but white seems pretty strong. I mean, look at this abstract stuff he's coming up with, like knight b4, knight a3, queen d3. Can't really figure this guy out, you know. My knight on a5 is a disaster. So now what? He's threatening bishop takes b7. He's threatening all kinds of stuff. And he's like way faster than me too. Maybe I can do c5. Though I lost mysteriously 3 minutes in this game that I don't know where it went. I made a move and then it unmade itself. I guess I was lagging or something, but I haven't had any lag all day. Let's see, the lag is really low. It's like on 43. That was really weird. So no one will catch this guy JWD, who seems brutal. Meanwhile, I'm like losing material here. White's basically played amazingly. c5. I'm not even sure if this is a good move or not. Very few moves I am sure about. But the whole concept of b4, I mean, that's pretty advanced. It's... I've never ever seen anything like that. I'm not even in the top 4 anymore. My games are actually super low. Of course it's an unrated tournament. I'd never make a rated tournament here with this 5 rated game guys. 1831 question mark based on 5 games. He's gonna crush me like a master. Well, I guess I don't have a choice here. I have to take back with the pawn and I'm losing material, but it's kind of complicated. Now this move might be a miscalculation. I was counting on queen b or knight b2 here. Knight b2 leaves me up material. I mean, the rest of the game he played miraculously, but he's gonna win my rook. So what am I up? I'm actually not up anything. He moves his queen, I move my queen, he takes my rook, I take his knight, and material's even. So this is only like saving my butt basically. I'm not winning any material. Thought I was winning at first. But he just wins back the exchange and then it's like approximately equal. But as I said earlier, I would definitely make there like a minimum of however many games to play in the tournament. You should be able to set it. I would require, like, if I had my druthers, I would require everyone to have 50 games, but I guess all the lichess tournaments are significantly less. Like 10 or 15 games or something to play in a tournament. I don't know, you're gonna have to check with them on that. I haven't conducted a poll about the sexuality of titled chess players. But I'm sure that you have an interesting cross-section. Chess players known for their sexuality. Queen A3, best move. Keeping an eye on D6, maybe? No, I'm seriously, I don't know. I don't know if it's the best move. It might be like inaccurate because he leaves this pawn unprotected. I'm freaking out over like nothing. I thought he has rook b1, but obviously that's not really a big deal because I have knight c4. So now he's a pawn down, although I think white is possibly still okay if he was to play like perfect moves. His queen only has 2 squares, a6 and a5, probably a6. Queen a6 looks like an interesting move. Though my queen and knight are strong now. This was such a weird game, but all of my games have been extremely, extremely long, making it difficult for me to do anything in this tournament. So interesting game. I mean, I think I was seriously worse. Seriously worse. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So last time he introduced an interesting gambit in the Alpin Sicilian, and now he comes up with this move, b4. This is a theoretical novelty in a relatively standard position. I mean, there's like 40 games here. You know, it's an interesting and dynamic move. Bishop f6 and now knight a3 with the idea of knight c2. The computer can evaluate this long variation quickly. White has compensation for the pawn. I guess here I had better than what I played, but I was already afraid like I could even be worse with these messed up pieces here. All right, let's go back to the tournament. I'm hanging out in 3rd place. This guy's running away with it. There's a 1300 vodka trunk. HDG. I need to maybe berserk a game or something. White Dancing Rockstar is streaming. Why am I not streaming? Why does it say me? Hey, that's not fair. Yeah, you're welcome. That was another really interesting opening, man. I mean, you keep introducing like really crazy ideas. Uh-oh. Soltigo 2100-08. But I don't have any kind of streak starter going on. Nobody's going to catch JWD. How does that guy have so many points? Like, what does he do to finish his game so quickly? Like, berserk, fine, but the other guy still has 10 minutes. I mean, it's basically almost 10 minutes when you add in the increment. Maybe, okay, like 8.5. How does he have 40 points so quickly? Like, even if you win all your games, I mean, the people must just be like playing 10 moves and resigning. Oh, you can't see yourself. That's weird. No, it does. See, I can see myself here. Okay, that's different. It's not a tournament. Anyway, it's a kind of new feature. Maybe they don't have like all the bugs. Maybe only one person can show up, you know, and it would show the other person rather than myself. I was just studying a variation in the Grunfeld, and I can't play it now because I already put my knight on f3. Sadly. I was working on this Queen A4 check, a kind of rare but popular side variation. Not here. Queen A4 check here is like the standard move. I prefer, I guess, well, I've played different stuff here. And D3 is an interesting move. I think Kramnik played this once. We're gonna go for the initiative here. Kramnik, we're gonna take you out like Anish Giri. He's gonna play H5. You wanna stop my expansion on the king side. C5. He has time for everything. Well, I really wanted to play Queen C1 and Bishop H6, but it just doesn't feel like we have time to get in everything I wanted to do. You know, we can't do everything. Soltigo, you're playing awfully normally. Lately you played a, what was it, a Tarash? Or you played a Queen's Gambit declined or something against me the other day, and now you're playing like a kind of normal Grunfeld? Is this like preparation? This is like a totally standard position where we've inserted the moves H4 and H5. I think it's difficult to say who that really favors, if anyone. The game will be deferred to the middle game and end game. Jumpman Mario said, "Hello, comrade." Never say sorry when you bad beat someone. It's a famous kind of poker etiquette rule. Soltiga's been working on the Grunfeld. You're in unseen territory. Well, I thought you reacted pretty well with H5 and then C5. Probably a good setup for black. Very principled. Now I guess I should take with the bishop, but maybe that's wrong. What would Kramnik do? It seems strange. I mean, if I was playing safe, I guess I take with the bishop, but taking this toward the center, I think lends dynamics to my position. It's just kind of a weird situation because I really wanted to trade these bishops, you know, usually by doing like bishop h6. You see, if I take with the bishop, there's no guarantee he plays bishop takes c3. In fact, he probably shouldn't play bishop takes c3. That's like hope chess. My fear is if I do bishop takes c3, he does something like knight to d4, you know, just sits there. Or basically any solid developing move. So, Kramnik had, you know, some kind of h4 type of English thing where he crushed Giri in the FIDE Grand Prix a while back. But Giri just let him do like h5 and get a really nasty attack on the h-file. But Soltigo likes complicated positions, so this is relatively tame for him. Saying sorry to someone after winning on a bluff, it's almost insulting in a way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You never say you're sorry, like, at all. But I was talking more like bad beats than bluffs. But I just, in reference to Tushar, he was saying, sorry you flagged. And I was thinking about how in poker, like, you'd never say sorry for like an unjust result or something. It just pisses people off. Very solid play by Black. Okay, in chess though, you hear the same sort of thing. Like, one guy's crushing the other guy, and then, you know, somewhere along the line, the guy who's winning the whole game blunders a piece, you know, and then the other guy's, oh, sorry, man. Like, you don't really mean it, you know what I mean? Those people who say sorry, they almost never really mean it. It's just like making you feel, they're trying to make you feel better. This is a really tough game by Soltigo. He's played like strategically perfect, like Botvinnik or something. And it's weird because that's totally not his normal style. It's almost like he's completely changed his chess style recently. I don't even know what my plan is anymore. I have no advantage. These sort of positions sort of frustrate me, where I'm not better, but I'm not worse, but I don't know what the plan is. You're like in limbo. Like, I'd like to either know I'm better or I'm worse, or, you know, what the status is, but this sort of position where it's not clear who's better, I guess that makes me uncomfortable, you know? I'm more happy like either being better or being worse. Here, how do you like judge who's better? I mean, Black has that pawn on c5 controlling the center, but I also have kind of like more center pawns, so I think that truthfully it's like a dynamic equilibrium. Very mature play by Soltigo, as if he's been studying like Botvinnik's selected games or something. 20 minutes left, and I'm nowhere near the top. That guy who drew me seems pretty strong. I wanted to play knight g5, but I don't see the point. You know, what does that even do? Obviously, I'm x-raying his king here with queen b2. I've played some strong players who played the Grunfeld, you know, here in Hungary. The Grunfeld was kind of a mainstay defense for Black for a long time because of Andras Shadorian, and then, you know, Andras Shadorian teaching Leko for a time. Leko started playing the Grunfeld, but then, like in the post-Leko Hungarian chess era, there really aren't like tons of Grunfeld players. There was like a whole generation of players who played the Grunfeld, but now not really. But I have played a few of the existing ones, and usually it's tough. I played these anti-Grunfeld lines, and last time I had a quick draw against some FIDE master. I think the last time I played this type of setup. Hopefully he just loses on time. Ever did anything that caused a conflict? Well, the last time I played poker on Friday, like, someone attacked me. The guy was angry because he lost the pot to me, where his hand was declared dead because he didn't see I was in the pot, and just like, you know, he thought he was like laying down the winning cards with no showdown or something, and the dealer was like, there's an active player behind you. And I made a bet, and he was folded, and he felt like I cheated him, but the truth was that he was just not paying attention. But I didn't feel I really caused the conflict. You know, the guy was just angry. But not so much in poker. A few times. But usually that's like just drinking related, not related to the game. Soltigo, what's up? I normally wouldn't drink when I played poker, but if it's like a social game or something, then sometimes people get in fights. I mean, anytime there's alcohol involved about anything. Queen e7 is a really good move too. Man, just look how classically he's like controlling the center with the rooks. The knight on c6, the bishop on g4. This is like a different guy than I'm used to. I feel like a bad beat is the only way I'm going to beat Soltigo here. You know, I just got the sense that he's eyeing the king side, just in the last possible moment here. Which actually makes me sort of regret my last move. He's kind of looking at g5. I know his instincts, you know, maybe he's thinking about like to go rook h8. I'm surprised by f6 a little bit. This was my plan, to play knight e3 and try to get into d5, but he stopped me again. This is like an old school Sicilian Scheveningen plan I learned ages ago. Kick him out. We've got control of d5. It's a fianchetto Scheveningen trick, and I've got now a lockdown on the d5 square. I mean, I'm not sure this even gives me anything, but we got some chances, practically. Nice. He has knight b4 here even. I mean, I think that black is fine. I'm not sure who's better, even in the final position. If I had seen knight b4, I probably wouldn't have played the last move. Maybe I have to make a prophylactic move like a3. This is really strong, actually. I saw it, you know, I could go here, I guess, and it's about equal. But, I mean, that's a really good game by Soltigo. He's equal, or at least equal after like 25 moves, and losing on time. But that's absolutely not his usual style. He likes to go crazy normally. That was a super controlled game by him. So I'm not going to be able to catch these top players. This guy, 2062, played like one inaccuracy against me. Vodka Drunk's 1300 supposedly. I know HGG. Supreme 5. This is another new account. 7 games. This is his 10th account. He's not even on the list of the top players in the event. You couldn't find a good move. Oh, you're on a touchpad. Oh, that's hopeless. Yeah, you can't. I don't know, man. I don't know how anybody does non-increment even on a touchpad. So he's 2209 in Blitz, and now he's signed up into the tournament. 2209 after 7 games, which means he probably won every single game he played. Let's see. 48 bullet games. What are they, unrated? He's played a lot of games, but they're all unrated. Mostly bullet. Whoa. What? So he plays all unrated games. That's weird. Okay, F3. We had this yesterday, ironically, against someone. I can't believe the tournament is over already. I'm going to finish like out of the money again. Queen D2. I'm really good with the bubble. If the bubble is like, you know, the top 3 here, right? Number 4 is the bubble. HG is going to bubble. Won't be his first time. Queen D2. And yeah, I'm playing D5 now. Otherwise, you know, it's just a bad dragon. we're playing a tempo up if he goes in any kind of normal dragon moves, and you know, that's good for us. I think there's a variation here where they can trade a lot of stuff. Like pawn takes pawn, knight takes, pawn takes. But this move is not a draw. This move is kind of relatively inferior for white, but maybe if he plays perfectly, it's not that bad. This move is almost never played by strong players. I have seen a lot of coffee house players play this. A long time ago, I like blundered in this position and played f6 once. Naturally, like f4, f6 drops the game to knight takes d5. Or at least it allows like really unpleasant complications. So you have to play e6 first, and then you play f6. But I don't think like a tournament player would ever play this setup for white. G3 is a really strange move. I've never seen that. Normally they play knight a4 here to try to blockade, like Nimzovich, against the pawns on the diagonal. But g3 has some logic. He wants to play maybe bishop g2. Also possible to play like bishop h3. So if I play c5, it's basically a choice between f6 or c5. Maybe rook b8 is a move. But f6 feels more dynamic to me. Or at least coffee houses where people play chess. I think you have to go to like Paris or something. I take back. But when I say coffee house, I mean, you know, just the classic kind of American catchphrase for you know, wood pushers and chess hacks. So it's a lot like 11 fish variation of the dragon. He played bishop h3 here. That move requires a strong stomach because he has to see that he doesn't lose a piece to d4. d4, knight e4 was covered by queen f5, but now because of bishop h3, I think that's pretty subtle. And it looks like again e5 walks into very sneaky computer tactics with knight takes d, and queen takes a8. So this is a little bit disturbing. Not quite sure what's going on around here. I hate to put knights on b6, but you know, maybe this is just such a strong idea. This also reinforces d5. I mean, bishop c5, knight c4 is very strong for me. And he's missing the bishop on f1. This will be the last game, obviously, that will count. I'm finishing in at least 6th place. A little slow today. You played a GM for the first time in your life? Someone in lichess. Okay guys, tomorrow I'm going to be streaming at 10 a.m. in the morning. Weird opening stream. Blitz and rapid chess. Wow. Whoa. Castles queenside into the long diagonal. Looks so dangerous. I should have a lot of threats. Dragon style. Against b2. We've got rook b8 for a little extra power. So knight takes b2. Looks like it wins. Except for the fact that it doesn't. I have other moves too, like bishop a6. Knight takes b2. Rook b8 check. King c1, queen takes c3. There's also bishop a6, but on bishop a6 he has even bishop d4. I could just take on e3 too, but it seems to sell out my whole position. But does it win a piece? Knight takes e3, queen takes e3, d4. Appears to win a piece. If that wins a piece, then that's probably the best. I mean, it's a more practical decision than any kind of fancy attack by sacrificing my knight on b2. You got to be practical. This trick he had before, but now he's still losing a piece. I guess I just have to be careful. Well, we're up on time. I mean, we're up on position. He's up on time. Will we make it in time? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to finish in the top 3. Vodka drunk 1300, finishing 3rd. That's not suspicious or anything. All right, rook b8. Let's loosen up his king position a little bit. I'm proud of myself for seeing that obvious piece win. And I missed better, probably. I don't know. Serbian Santa Claus, I berserk because there was a low time to catch top guys. Don't forget about there's no increment. I did that last time. I'm still not going to finish in the top 3. Last time I was 4th. That's about the best I could hope for here, a tie for 4th. Check. We're winning. We just have to finish in 4 minutes. Yeah. I want to hold on to that pawn. That's my ticket to a quick win. Well, this will be our last game for the tournament. It looks like JWD will win. Diva Karan is second. And the battle for 3rd is still on, I guess. Alright, we took it down. 3 minutes left. You see, now I'm showing up as streaming. That's weird. Did somebody change that? Like, how come I'm like showing up as streaming now after we complained about it? Nephew killed a 2300. Got reported? What? How do you know? He got reported? Oh, did he get banned or something? Nah. He's 1773 though. He gained like... Oh no, that's his rapid rating. Alright. Yeah, I'm not surprised if Nefedov gets reported. He's like beating GMs and simul's and stuff. I didn't make it. I'm in 4th place after Vodka Drunk 1300. Arsenal fan. We have to play at least 7 moves and then you have to resign. if you throw the game in under 2 minutes, Arsenal fan is not really in contention. He would need to get 20 points. Only I can catch third place. Last time he played bishop g4. If he gets disconnected in the next 2 minutes, though, suspiciously. JWD, but didn't JWD have didn't he have like 41 points like an hour ago or something? Like seriously, I think he stopped playing after, after the first hour with 41 points. I don't really understand this move in this position. Like, my b2 pawn is protected, so it seems a bit strange to play queen b6. I'm really sure what it does, I guess. Well, the question was bishop g4 or bishop f5. I was kind of afraid of bishop g4. I mean, you can do a6 in the Slav too. I mean, I guess queen b6 isn't so much worse than, say, that. It stops me from playing bishop d2. That's the secret. So, we're not going to win a big prize here. Knight h4. I think that's always kind of overrated. I'm not a fan of playing knight h4 anymore in the Slav. At least not in this type of position. Maybe when black's like kingside castle already, I could see, playing knight h4 and grabbing his bishop when there's no rook getting to like an open file. I just don't really get what this move does. You're like putting your queen on b6. It doesn't really hurt anything, but I guess you stop me from playing bishop d2. I can't really see any other points of the move. I mean, I think Arsenal fan, maybe that move exists like in the knight f3, knight c3 variation, to kind of prevent white from moving the bishop on c1. But I think once I play e3, it doesn't really have a point. To be able to play, okay, bishop f5. Well, anyway, I mean, bishop f5 is fine anyway. Like, you know what I mean? I think you just play bishop f5 anyway. You don't need queen b6 in this position. It's not necessarily a really destructive move for you, but I have a really lame setup here, honestly. This game doesn't count for the tournament, guys. It's over. Greenland, the master from Greenland, supposedly. I didn't get to play him, unfortunately. JWD wins the tournament. I think he took the second half off after getting 41 points in the first hour. Then this guy who played Fantastic Draw against me finished second. Vodka Drunk 1300. What is that? He's 1300 rapid, 1700. His ratings are very similar to like Nefedov. And then me and HGG, Plukro, Arsenal fan Ayeste, Jakester, and Nabil. Nefedov. But you took out a 2300. Alright, now, wait a minute. Now, maybe knight g6. I start to like it. Knight h4, I mean. Maybe this move we can justify now, like I was talking about before. If he's not going to have an open h-file, I think you can say that this is probably, worth it to go for the bishop. You defeated Diva Karan. Not a very exciting position, though. I don't really like playing e3 against the Slav. How did this happen again? Oh, it was okay. It wasn't a normal. It wasn't a normal Slav move order. Arsenal fan. I forgot about that. I still think Queen B6 is strange, but I could see it maybe after D4, Queen B6. Angelo Young did something like that against me once, but it's no, it's okay. It's just a move, you know. You have like a sort of Scandinavian type position here. A3. A3 kind of weakens my structure a little bit, though. It is sort of hard to come up with a plan. A3, maybe. I don't like Queen C2 because my queen is... Still, Queen C2 is not a bad move, though. Yeah, maybe Queen C2. Just the most straightforward. Is the C file going to backfire on me here? What's he going to do? Take on C4, play C5. Any kind of C5 is very risky for black. So I guess I can just play like waiting game and eventually try to play either C5 or E4 or pawn takes pawn, depending on what happens. Playing like a Terminator. I finished in 4th place. My games are too long. They're all like 50 move grind outs where it takes me... There, he did C5. I don't know, Arslan. I mean, theoretically I have the bishop pair here and you're opening the position. That seems like the wrong idea. C takes E5, C takes D, knight A4. Could possibly win a pawn. Or just mess up his pawn structure a little bit. We also have knight A4 directly. Arsenal likes to do intermezzo in between moves, so he'll definitely play like C takes D4 here. And I thought this intermezzo, and then I take on E6, and then I recapture on D4, and I want a pawn, right? Who else? Soltigo. Who else does the lately against me? Like they always have to do in between moves. Arsenal fan though, I think he likes it sort of like as a sort of psychological thing. I knew another player like that who always made like the in-between Zwischenzug move that you didn't expect, just on principle. But his structure is getting ripped apart here. And his knight's under attack. I really thought you were going to play Queen C6 there. Not Queen C6, Queen D6. And recapture with the queen on E6. But I guess it's still just a clear pawn down. Unfortunately, this does not count for the tournament. I'm sorry you didn't get to play me, Guven. We were both streaming at the same time, so it would have been a streamer battle. We have to modify the pairings. Sacrifice my queen. Oh, I have nasty in-between moves. But he has a secret move too. So another Zwischenzug. Zwischenzug just for the sake of a Zwischenzug. Queen D1. An apparently safe move. I really want to recapture on D4. But I have to be kind of careful about my knight getting trapped on the side of the board. There may have been better moves, but I didn't want to pin myself. You know, in effect, I think Queen C D1 might have been like pretty much a no-brainer. Although, I guess you could also play Queen B1, which hadn't occurred to me, to try to be on G6. Queen D1 looks more natural. What's that, Nefidov? Who do you think was the strongest? It's like my son asked me the other day, what are your favorite two superheroes? And I was like, I don't know, Batman and Spider-Man. We got the exact same question now in the chess stream. Pawn takes F7 check. I'm the only person streaming wanting to improve. Well, only one like really putting emphasis on that, I guess. Mostly it's entertainment. It's like public television. My knight is a happy camper there on A4. It's so good to get rid of it. I feel like I cured the diseased element of my position. You know what? Maybe I'll take with the bishop here. Because if I play queen takes, he'll play queen c2 and keep bothering me. This way all my pieces are like protected. And it's just a disaster. Black Soul Kingside just melted. Burning your bridges behind you comes to mind. Yeah, that's the move he was going to play against. Queen takes d4. He just decided, oh, I'll play it anyway. I give up. Just look, Ma, no hanging pieces. Everything's protected. I can't even fall for a cheapo here. B7 is weak. That's not B7, this is B7. I didn't fall for any of Arsenal fans' cheapos today. Though in the last couple of times I did. Last time he sacked a piece on Soundly. Simul Knight. Why don't that tournament winner says something? He never says anything. That guy. He's pretty mysterious. I'm getting kind of materialistic here. But this is just too much. Even if I lose my A pawn, he's down like 100 pawns here. Analysis board. Now my argument would be like after d4, queen b6 is probably some obscure move. But I don't think that in this position it makes sense. There are 8 games where that was played, but I mean that's really, really rare. Anyway, guys, back to the tournament. JWD wins first, 2323 performance. He played 11 games, I think, in 5 minutes, and then ducked out. We had Diva Karan with a 2100 performance. He played even more games, what, 12, and then Vodka Drunk, 2030. No berserks. How did Vodka Drunk do it? He played 12 games, no berserking. Actually lost a whole bunch of them, but still. Well, that's easy to do, right? JWD won all of his games. Why am I getting this lag here now? Nefirov was a joke, by the way. The Classical Shield Arena. This is not working. Okay, that's annoying that I can't click on that. Some kind of bug. But JWD first, Diva Karan second, Vodka Drunk third. I'm in fourth. My performance rating was 2291. A couple draws. But those guys played well. that I drew with, so I was satisfied with those, and I think my performance was okay. But I didn't berserk, and I just wasn't. My games were too long. So Chess Armageddon, thanks for congratulating everybody. We will be back tomorrow with Blitz and Rapid Chess Weird Wednesday stream, playing unusual openings here in the morning. Thanks you guys for watching and for playing. We had 61 players. I don't know how many people watching the Twitch stream because it's not listed right now. Refresh the page. Refresh the page. We've got JWD. I wanted to look at his result. He won every single game. No, he drew with Haidoi. He drew Haidoi. Haidoi was a weird, mysterious player with lots of interesting ideas in the opening. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. Thanks, Soltigo, for being here with us. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.